welcome to the coolest half an hour on the World of Champions. This is your favorite show, Love PSL, coming to you from the headquarters in Randburg. It is in this very same building where the latest news about the beautiful game are brought to you as they break. And social networks are one of the platforms used.
We sent out our cameras to find out what the two major players in Zanzidiski were doing behind the scenes in keeping the conversations going with the lovers of the beautiful game.
Well, obviously the social media environment is one that you need to be constantly aware of, and it's an ever-changing one, to say the least. Daily duties involve updating our social media platforms, which are the primary ones, which would be Facebook and Twitter, but obviously looking how to strategize with all the production crews to see how we can make shows like yours and the general TV broadcast a lot more social. For the last 2 or 3 years, SuperSport has seen a huge increase in terms of following and engagement on our social media platforms. When I began, I think the numbers were really small, and at the moment we have just passed the 4.5 million total fans and followers figure, which in South Africa is really quite significant, because if you want to get your message out there across different platforms, you know, not every platform is for every person, so it's a great way to get your message out there. And some of the numbers, I know our 2 Facebook pages, there's a SuperSport and a SuperSport Football, have 2 million and 1.8 million, and our 2 Twitter accounts, which are obviously very important in our social media strategy. The SuperSport Blitz account has closing on 500,000, and the SuperSport TV account has about 390,000 followers, which is quite significant, yes.
The most important thing about social media and new media is influence. You want to have influence. In order to influence people, you look at influential people, right? One of the things I've noticed, one of the trends I've noticed, is that some of the people like Robert Marawa, Thabo Fukate, and all those other people who've got a huge following, if they retweet us once, obviously a lot of people just kind of piggyback on that. And of course, those guys don't necessarily associate with people who don't necessarily have reputation and credibility. So one of the things we've tried to do from our side is to obviously establish that relationship, figure out who actually retweets us, who's got more influence in whatever sphere. And again, doing that without necessarily losing our niche on what we really want to do, what we really want to offer. I think one of the things that we want to do from our side, I mean, we have a great partnership with SuperSport as our television rights holders. And one of the questions we need to always ask is how can we leverage from each other's, platforms. I mean, SuperSport has got a powerful television product that they are obviously flighting all the time. I
mean, just from a SuperSport perspective, I mean, we obviously present the facts and the latest score updates. So the SuperSport Blitz account is a great place to follow the scores if you can't actually be watching on TV. Every time there's a goal alert, a half-time score, a full-time score, you can get everything from SuperSport, the SuperSport Blitz account, and a roundup from the SuperSport TV account. But in terms of particular clubs, it's a great way to stay involved and stay in touch with your fans. I mean, if you can give behind-the-scenes pictures, inside information, stats, figures, have a Q&A with the players, it's really a great and a real-time medium to stay in touch with your fans. And I think slowly, as again, the uptake has been slow, but in recent times everyone's on that bandwagon. As you say, Chiefs reached their million mark, which is fantastic, and I think team-specific counts are very important, and especially on Twitter, I would say.
We need to obviously create that capacity, create that skills base, make sure that all our 16 clubs, actually 32 clubs, understand how does this benefit their business. What do they get out of their business? I have something that SuperSport.com doesn't have, that Kickoff.com doesn't have, Soccer Laduma doesn't have, and all those other guys. I have the data, they don't. You know, they consume my data. I'm not interested in them breaking news. So we need to obviously create that culture. I mean, I was fortunate enough for my side to spend a lot of time in Europe and understand what people in a similar business who are doing similar things are doing when it comes to social media and new media and how they drive their business. And the business thrives based on all those other things.
part of our education process was for people to actually use the relevant hashtags. If you don't use the relevant SuperSport hashtag, which in this case would be hashtag SSDisky, then you won't be able to get on TV. So that is the first step, so that people know that if they want to get their tweets on there, they have to follow our education process. Then once they actually do, you tweet an opinion with the correct hashtags, it will aggregate itself in a system. In every single production show, there will be a producer or an assistant producer at the show. They'll select all the tweets there, and using our specific software, they'll able to actually pull it onto screen. People love their tweet on air for their 10-15 seconds of fame.
Football fans generally just like to have a voice. They like to have an opinion, and they like to be heard, right? So the most important thing for us is to create that platform where they can talk. We will, for example, say, we will come up with a topic of and basically create a montage of 4 dribbling wizards: Steve Lukulia, Jabu Pule, Skarangobese, and whoever. And we'll say, who do you think was the best dribbling wizard in South Africa? And people will come, over 5,000 comments, not just like comments, people commenting, interacting, and basically really sharing their views. But what is important is that sometimes people are not necessarily talking about the topic. All of a sudden now, people are creating a community. I talk to you, I've noticed something. There are guys who literally on a daily basis talk to each other, because this one supports Orlando Pirates, this one supports Kaizer Chiefs, and they poke each other, not necessarily in a malicious way, but you can see there's a little bit of fun element involved, but also at the same time, there's a community that is growing, So for us, the most important thing is to make sure that people spend time there, people communicate, people interact on our social media and new media platforms.
If you want to stay updated in the quickest, most real-time manner, Twitter is definitely for you. If you always use the example that, if you're sitting at a stadium, or even if you're sitting in a courtroom like now, and you say, is he guilty, is he not? The quickest way that you're going to find out that information is from actually being there and tweeting it. It takes a while, 5 minutes to put an article up onto the website, but it takes you only 10 seconds to tweet. So if you want to be first with the news, Twitter is definitely for you. And if you want a little bit more insight, a little bit more engagement, you want to share your opinion more, I think Facebook is definitely for you. They're very different in their own respect, but they are both, in my opinion, very equally as important.
Well, there you have it. I suggest you get on your phone, search and follow these 2 institutions for up-to-date info on D-Ski, and check out who else they have on their followers that you could follow.